It is a known fact that if you want to master jazz improvisation, you must first study the bebop idiom, which is at the core of modern jazz. And to do so, you won't find a better source than the music of one of its most celebrated pioneers, Mr. Charlie Parker. Although lessons abound on his use of scales, arpeggios, and harmony in general, there is one aspect of his characteristic melodic style that is seldom mentioned. And with that in mind, in this video I bring you the first lesson in a two-part series on Charlie Parker's extensive use of octave displacement. In today's lesson, I will explain melodic octave displacement and demonstrate different ways in which Bird used this technique within his lines. In part 2, I will show you step by step how you too can apply all these concepts to create your own solo over a well-known standard. I'm Richie Zellen, and I want to welcome you to the Jazz Guitar channel. So, what is octave displacement? To better understand this concept, let's listen to a descending line over a B-flat major 7 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, all the diatonic scale degrees are labeled above the notes. And CH means it's a chromatic or non-diatonic note. Also, notice that there is an interval of a second marked between the root and the 7th in this line. And I point this out because one of Bird's most frequent uses of octave displacement is applied to the second of any two descending notes which are an interval of a major or minor second apart. In this case, the second note is transposed up an octave and the rest of the line simply continues its original direction in this high register. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you have a classic Charlie Parker line based on upper octave displacement of the second of two notes a step apart. Notice how it extends the range and adds a change of direction to an otherwise line that sounds like a one-way combination of arpeggio and scale. And you can see an X in place of the note that begins the displacement. So what I've done for this and all the upcoming examples is I've reverse engineered each Charlie Parker phrase and restored all the octave displacement notes back to their original setting in the scale or arpeggio so you can hear how simple in essence the lines are. Next, let's look at an example over a 2-5-1. Here's the line without any octave displacement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice in this example that the chosen two notes, the 3 and the flat 2 over the G7 flat 9, are a minor third apart. Now listen to how the same line sounds like when the flat 2 and the notes that follow it are displaced up an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you just heard is what Bird played on measure 35 of his solo over Anthropology. Notice that by displacing the flat 2 an octave higher, it now stands out as the flatted 9, which is an upper extension. So a simple lesson we can derive from this example alone is whenever you're playing a descending scale, you can displace or transpose the 2, 4, or 6 an octave up if it is an available upper extension. And there are myriads of examples where Bird does this in his solos. Let's look at another 2-5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Note that in this example we have the interval of a second between the last note of the A flat minor 7 and the first note of the D flat 7. So let's hear what happens when we displace the second note up an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you just heard is what Bird played on measure 20 of his solo on Blues for Alice. And this is another unique and unexpected way of utilizing octave displacement. That is, for the note that begins a new chord change. I hope you are enjoying this lesson. If so, I recommend that you download the special study package I put together for this and the second part of this lesson. It features a 10-page PDF with regular notation and tab of all the examples in this two-part series. Also MP3s of all the examples and a band-in-a-box file of both versions of the standard we will work on in part 2. And you can download all of this for a very small contribution. Please know that in doing so, you'll be helping support this channel, as these lessons require lots of time and effort to produce. Just visit jazzguitar.richiezelland.com/premium and you'll find the link under mini courses. And let's listen to another 251, first devoid of any octave displacement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that this one displaces the second of two notes an interval of a third apart. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me play it an octave up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you just heard is what Bird played on measures 9 through 11 of his solo on Au Prévab. Notice that in this example, the ninth is displaced down an octave instead of up. In the second measure, once again, he displaces the first note of the chord change. Finally, in the last measure, he again displaces this time the second note, or the fifth, downward an octave. Keep an eye out for part 2, in which I will take a very popular standard and show you how I first place scale and arpeggios over it and then apply the different octave displacement concepts Bird employed to breathe new life into it. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and if so, I welcome your likes and comments. Also, if this is your first time on the Jazz Guitar channel, please subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell icon so you will be notified of my upcoming lessons. Until then, practice, 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 stay safe, and may peace be with you.